Hey everybody, Ben for the Bonehead podcast, and welcome to Blood Bowl 2025 Team Guides. We are going through every team in Blood Bowl Season 3, and we're having a look at the players, the team, the changes, and what you can run if you go to your shop and pick up a box. Now, feels like it's a bit of an elf time, so we're actually going to be looking at Elven Union today. This is one of those teams where their lineman got fronted up a skill. It's called Fumblerooski, and along with all of the other players in this team, we're going to have a look at that. Okay, so Elven Union, interesting team. Very cool models, and they've always sat kind of mid-table. They can be really explosive, and they can also really collapse in on themselves. They don't quite have the zest and spice of Wood Elves. They don't quite have the tenacity and violence of Dark Elves. They kind of have this weird middle ground, and I've always really liked them. And not just because they were from the old classic Dwarves and Elves Dungeon Bowl box set. Right, Elven Union. Yes. Okay, let's go and have a look at the top of the box. So Elven Union, 0 to 8 rerolls, 50k, tier 2, Apothecary, yes. And then we get into some of the interesting bits. So they can take Elven Kingdoms Leagues. That just means which inducements they can take, which star players and things like that. Boom, let's bring up the roster. So they get 0 to 16 Line Elves, and these players have Fumblerooski now. We got 0 to 2 Elf Throwers, 0 to 2 Elf Blitzers, and the Blitzers are pretty wicked. Movement 7, Armor 9+, Edge 2+, and they start with Block and Sidestep. They are one skill away from being the most miserable thing in the in the game to block. When they become Blodge Step, and they will become Blodge Step, they become really, really potent, really, really elusive, and a really fantastic positional. Now, these guys have got elf catchers, but these are not just elf catchers. These are proper elf catchers. They are movement 8. We like that. They are edge 2+. We like that. But they are also strength 3, which means they can become very, very powerful pieces. And they've got nerves of steel, which means they are always catching the ball. And in this edition, they got diving catch as well. So what we're going to do, we're going to look at each of the players, we're going to look at each of the profile, look at each of the costings, and then we'll talk through the special skills each of these players has as we go one by one, starting with the lineman. Okay, so the elf lineman, very good stat line. Movement 6, strength 3, edge 2+, passing 3+, armor 8+, coming in at 65k. Now, they're slower than Wood Elves, and they are more vulnerable than Dark Elves and High Elves, but movement 6 is fine, strength 3 is fine, edge 2+ is very good for a lineman. Okay, Elves, this is the quintessential team where you put them on the line because you have to, and then you 2+ dodge away, 2+ dodge away, 2+ dodge away. The shtick with any elf team should be only giving your opponent one hit a turn and make them cost their blitz action. Now, the elf lineman got souped up a bit in this edition in the spec of one skill. So they got the Fumblerooski skill. Now, they got the same stat line as they had before, and that passing 3+ may have got better, but it may have just been what they had before anyway. Elves kind of, they can pass, they can dodge, they can do everything. Now, they can also put the full down whenever they want. So Fumblerooski, here we go. When this player performs a move action while they are in possession of the ball, they may choose to place the ball on the ground in any square they move out of during their move action. This will not cause a turnover. Okay, so this skill was introduced in the last edition, and I think it was it a passing skill? It was the kind of skill that didn't come up very often unless you rolled it on a random. It's similar in vein to Safe Pair of Hands or Dump Off in that it's not the skill you want to use proactively. However, Fumblerooski can actually be part of an interesting chain of events. So this edition, you've got Secure the Ball. Doesn't matter because you're elves, you've got 2+. But what you can do with the elf lineman, instead of taking the 2+ handoff, instead of taking the 3+ pass into a 2+ catch, you can just put the ball on the ground at any point in your movement. So what that does mean is you can drop the ball, really basic, and I think that the first point here, elf lineman has the ball, you move some players up, and he moves to form a corner of a cage or the side of a screen. You drop the ball on the way, and then another elf player comes along and picks it up. So it's kind of like a handoff action via the ground. Okay, you're making a deposit for someone else to pick up in a minute. Wow, what that does mean is you kind of get a duplication of position with your elf lineman here. So you've got the ball, you can choose where you want him to be if he wasn't the ball carrier, and you cannot fail it. You can fail the pickup, but your player is going to end up where they want to go. So it's going to be really cool, I think, every now and again. I don't think this is the kind of thing you're going to be using all the time, but again, it just means that your elf, if he gets the ball somehow, you don't need a handoff, you don't need a pass, you can just be like, yeah, I'm going to drop it there, and then I'm going to go stand next to this guy, or I'm going to go get in the way here and kind of form a bit of a cage, a bit of a screen, and the ball is in a position where I like it. I think this is going to be better than we think, but it's just a toolkit. It's just a toolkit. It's a borderline free skill, but it really means that the elves via the ground are going to be able to get the ball wherever they want it to be, and in some cases just not bother at all. They just go put the ball here, screen in front, make your opponent roll those dice to try and get to it. Also a way around stalling potentially, but we don't want to encourage that. Now, elf linemen, they've got agility and general skills on a primary, which means they can take a random at 3 SPP, they can pick one at 6 SPP, or they can save up to 10 SPP and take a strength skill. So 10 SPP when you're elfing is not the worst. Armor 8+ on these players does make them a little bit vulnerable. So where you've got edge and general access, elf linemen love a bit of dodge and potentially love a bit of block. But what you can do is you can try and take a random, you get to roll twice and pick. So you can brew up and you can make some speculative choices with the elf lineman, but there is going to be nothing better for you than a dodging movement 6 and 2+ P. Okay, so the elf thrower, okay, movement 6, strength 3, edge 2+, passing 2+, armor 8+. Hail Mary pass and pass coming in at 75k. Yes, this one is 75k. So a 10k increase on your lineman. They lose Fumblerooski, but they gain a point of passing and the pass skill, including Hail Mary pass. Now we're going to use this as an opportunity to go through that skill as well. So when this player performs a pass action or a throw bomb special action, they may declare any square on the pitch as the target square rather than using the range ruler. Make a passing ability test as normal, treating the throw as a long bomb, which is -3, and treating any result of an accurate pass as an inaccurate pass. A Hail Mary pass cannot be intercepted. Now, there is a very cool combo here where Hail Mary pass and diving catch works, and your catchers now have diving catch. The only downside is that Hail Mary pass is now treated as a long bomb, so -1, -2, -3. You've got passing 2+, so that is a 3, 4, 5. But let's reframe that. You've got a 5+ with a reroll to get the ball basically anywhere in the entire pitch. So you can loiter in your own end zone, signing autographs, and then go, no, I've got a 5+ with a 5+ chance of dropping the ball right over there. One thing to mention, wildly inaccurate has gone, but and 1 or a natural 1 is going to be a fumble. So when you're a -3, a 1, a 2, a 3, and a 4 is going to be a fumble result, which means your elf is going to drop the ball in the square they are in. So it's going to bounce from them. Man, there's going to be a lot of times where that's absolutely fine. That is absolutely fine. So when it comes to elfing around, that just being free rolled to them is going to give you some options, especially because you've got the exceptionally useful catches with Nerves of Steel and diving catch as well. So it's an interesting one. It is absolutely positively not the best strategy, and where you can only take 2 catches now, you can't quite spam the way you used to and just diving catch your way into a very long bomb touchdown, but it could be really fun. AGP on primary and strength on secondary. It depends what you want to use your elf thrower for. Because they're only 10k more than a lineman, don't treat them like a lineman. Like, it's only 10k, so the fact they don't have Fumblerooski, that means they operate differently. It means you actually don't have to pay much for that passing 2++ with Hail Mary, so that's quite useful. Cannoneer is going to be quite fun if you want to go the Hail Mary pass route, because that would give you a passing 2+, 3+, 3+, 4+. That's going to drop you basically a 75% chance at getting your Hail Mary pass to go where you want it to go. It's an interesting one, it's a fun one, and elves here, just the fact everyone's edge 2+, you've got 2 of the best catchers in the game as well. Yeah, this could be fun to be a bit of a gunslinger. So you may be wanting to throw to your catchers, but you've also got 2 of the most fun blitzers in the game. So movement 7, strength 3, edge 2+, passing 3+, armor 9+. Yes, These guys are Dark Elf Blitzers. They are expensive at 115k because not only do they come with great agility, great speed, they also come with the block skill and sidestep. So this is why they are so frustrating, even straight out of the box. Straight first game, just tied to the roster. That block and sidestep is going to keep them standing, and sidestep is going to mean that they can just slowly move to where you don't want them to be. And as a player running them, you get that one extra square to go in the right direction. You've got Edge 2+, so when you get nearer that mark, you've got probably a good option, or at least a 3+, maybe a 4+ dodge to actually just take a hit on the ball carrier no matter what's going on. Now, AG on their primary, I mean, there's a skill called block that these guys have already got. There's a skill called dodge that combos very nicely. Blodge stepping elf blitzers. It's just one of those things that is just like taxes and death and all sorts of things. It's just something you're going to have to put up with. And there's some fun out there at the moment where there's a little bit more tackle going on in some teams. But the elf blitzer, as soon as he takes Blodge, it's just going to be really egregious. Now, passing on a secondary means you can Nerves of Steel this dude if you want to. Probably wouldn't bother. Strength access is interesting. Save up to 10 SPP and then maybe take Break Tackle to give you a cheeky 1+ dodge. You can take Leap on him. You can take a whole bunch of cool skills with the Blitzer, but getting that Blodge step is actually really important, I think, for the way this player plays. 14 SPP, straight out of the gate, will get you a stat up. So if you don't want to go immediately to the dodge route, you could risk him becoming a movement 8 blitzer or a strength 4 blitzer or an edge 1+ blitzer. And 14 SPP is not super far for an elf. 4 TDs, 3 TDs and a casualty and an MVP, and they're there already. And that's 2 touchdowns a game for a couple of games, and they are mostly there. It's incredibly achievable now in this edition, and I think we're going to see some of these premier elf positionals hang on a little bit and take some doubles. Hang on a little bit and take some stat ups, because movement 8 is pretty great, strength 4 is magnificent, and you still have the check down there of being able to pick a passing or strength skill if you don't roll the stat you want. I don't think you can roll a stat you don't want when it comes to the Elf Blitzer. If you just get armor, skip that, go Break Tackle or Mighty Blow to try and do a bit of removal. But the rest of the time could be really primed for some egregious elfing. Okay, so the Elf Catcher. Do you know what? The Blitzer didn't have a new skill. Oh, well, there we go. The Elf Catcher, though, does have a new skill. So I love this positional. Movement 8, Strength 3 is a fantastic skill combination. We get very excited about it when we look to the Human Catcher, and we get even more excited about it for this positional, because he's also Edge 2+. This guy is everything you want him to be. Passing 4+, armor 8+, going to be a bit vulnerable. He does not start with dodge, which does mean that for the for the first game, until this guy goes out there with his movement 8 and edge 2+ and strength 3 and score 2 touchdowns, he's going to be a little on the vulnerable side. But only slightly, and it's worth the risk. Dodge is obviously a very good skill for the Elf Catcher, coming in at 100k and having Nerves of Steel, Catch and Diving Catch. It's a pretty great place to start. It is 100k. So we've got some great skills on this guy. Catch obviously lets you catch the ball if you fail to catch the ball the first time you try to catch the ball. Then he's got Diving Catch. Now this, I think, is an addition for this edition. Phrasing. This player may attempt to catch the ball if it lands in a square in their tackle zone as a result of a pass, throw-in or kickoff. They may not use this skill to attempt to catch the ball if it lands in a square in their tackle zone as a result of a bounce. Okay, cool. So if the ball would come from the sky, and lands next to them in their tackle zone, they get a chance to try and catch it. So on the kickoff is a fantastic one. On the event of an inaccurate pass. On the event of a throw-in from the crowd, if that ball lands in the tackle zone of the Elf Catcher, they get a chance to catch it. There's no modifiers, except for tackle zones for other people, etc. So that's just great. Oh my god, they got Nerves of Steel. So that's crazy. If the ball lands next door to this Elf Catcher, it's just his on a 2+ with a reroll forever, basically. I love that. And also, which is a really interesting one, additionally, this player may apply a +1 modifier to their agility test when catching the ball as part of a pass action if they are in the target square. So they get a 1+ catch on an accurate pass. which is really useful if it's raining, if you've got a bit of disturbing presence coming around. The rest of the time, these guys are 2+ catching anyway, and where they've got nerves of steel, they ignore tackle zones as far as agility tests are concerned for catching the ball. So, and for throwing the ball, to be fair. So the Elf Catcher is just the most OP catch machine imaginable, which is really fun and really exciting, especially because if you've got two of them, that's what? 18 squares covered in this big chunk of, if you get me the ball anywhere here, I'm getting it on a 2+. It's fantastic. Now, you could do stuff like this in the 2016 edition. Back in the Blood Bowl 2 era, you had 4 elf catchers, you'd spam diving catch on them, you'd run them up there, and you'd just Hail Mary somewhere in the vicinity. Your elf catcher would catch it on a 2+, and you'd run it in for a touchdown. You've only got 2 elf catchers, but dude, you have still got the dream there, and I think it's really cool. But diving catch, giving you that +1, is going to be really useful if you're chucking the ball to them when it's raining, if you're chucking the ball to them when they're playing against Nurgle or a Goblin with disturbing presence. It's just going to keep you 2++ing it, which is phenomenal. Catch is going to be useful for the handoffs. Nerves of Steel just takes away all the presence of tackle zones. It's fantastic. Now, this player is absolutely begging for dodge, but you're going to be able to put them somewhere, and you're going to be able to get them the ball, and as soon as you get that dodge, they're probably going to be out there on a 2+ with a reroll, so it's going to be 2+ catch with a reroll into a 2+ dodge with a reroll, and your movement 8, which means you've got all the movement in the world to go in there and score a TD. I like this too. This is wicked. Now, the cool thing here is movement 8, strength 3 gives you a good platform to build any kind of player you want. Now, yes, they've got all the accoutrement there to be able to scoring stuff. So dodge, keeping them mobile seems perfect. But then giving them block as well, then you're going to have 2 movement 7 blodge step pieces. You're going to have 2 movement 8 blodge pieces. And it's just going to be a really threatening offense. And it's so cool. Okay, so I've hyped you up as much as I've hyped myself up now about Elven Union. 6 elf linemen, 1 elf thrower, 2 elf blitzers, 2 elf catchers, 2 rerolls comes to $9.95. So if you go to your friendly local gaming shop, you pick up a box of elves, you're good to go straight out of the box. This is probably the roster I would recommend anyway. You don't have enough spare cash to be able to change an elf thrower into an extra reroll or another lineman, so you definitely get the thrower. You don't quite have enough cash to be able to run both the throwers, but you don't really need to. Your roster's good to go. Now, what I would say is, as your team is going to develop, you're probably going to need more linemen. The way elves play in any league is, oh, I love this guy, he's gone. I love that he's gone too. The way elves kind of play is you're going to end up with a couple of journeymen regularly. So having 11 players out of the box is great. Potentially adding a second thrower as your league goes along might not be the worst thing to do. Just having that extra player to be able to pass 2++, and with the fact they're only 10k more than a lineman, means that your 12th player could absolutely be the second thrower for your roster. We don't say that very much, but because they're not much more expensive than a lineman, and you're not losing much. Yeah, you're losing a Fumblerooski, but you're gaining that passing 2++ and a Hail Mary play, so that when if your main thrower goes out, you've got a backup quarterback. Actually, I really like that. But you're gonna need some elf linemen to be to kind of sub in. I just think you're going to. And if you want to expand your team to 13, which you probably want to as your league deepens, yeah, you might want an extra box of elf linemen or something like that. Now, this team is gagging for an apothecary. You've got a whole bunch of players here that are wicked. You want to keep your blitzers alive. You want to keep your catchers alive. So that apothecary is going to be really, really, really key. So if you're running this roster in league, apothecary first, then take your second elf thrower and have a wonderful time. Okay, so elves. Oh, it's looking good. That strength 3, movement 8 combo is a real tempting stat line for Blood Bowl. It works for werewolves. It works for war dancers, and I think it's going to work very nicely for a cheeky 2+ elf catcher here as well. All the catch skills in there, and a cheeky bit of Hail Mary pass on the thrower is really fun. You're not paying much for the thrower, which I do like, and the catch skills, you know, they're secondary to the fact you've got a movement 8 strength 3 piece. With Edge 2+, like, yes, dodge is really good on those guys, but they're going to help you out in a pinch anyway, and it's just a really cool position and a really good stat line for elves. So I love the way Elven Union are brewing up. Ian Warhammer has started painting up a team. He's converted them with some Harlequin pieces to give them that kind of second edition vibe, cheeky bit of Mohawks. Elven Union are looking really fun in this edition. I don't know if they are going to be as potent in tournaments. I think the limit on catches is going to hurt them there. But for leagues, for playing games up to 1,300 team value, 1.3 million, Elven Union are going to come out of the gate and be a super threat. I really love it. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments below, and we'll be back soon with more Blood Bowl content. Happy blocking.